Welcome to a team update video on the eve of round 1. It is George from Fantasy Take TV, and today we got a few bombshells. And day out from round 1. I think this is the time of year. This is the most fun time of the year. I think it's people are scrambling to finalize their teams, make their last minute adjustments because we got the Ryan Daniels bomb or the Wodge bomb for NBA, but Supercoach equivalent. Elliot Yeo out with a calf issue, and also a press conference with Ross Lyon indicating that they want to play, well, they think there's a good chance that Campbell plays throughout the year. And I don't know if that's round 1 or not because we won't know till Friday night due to extended benches unless they name Campbell on the field. So we need to talk about Yeo, we need to talk about Campbell, and we'll touch on some rookies that have been named. So a lot to discuss, but I think that this is the time of year where a little bit of heat is on. This is, at the end of the day, Supercoach, it's just a game in the grand scheme of things, but I invest a lot of time in it. I enjoy it, so I don't treat it as just a game. I treat it seriously, and that's what's fun for me. So already copying a bit of flack on Twitter about soft tissue injuries, about me calling out soft tissue injuries to Yeo and English, but you see Josh Kelly and Sean Darcy here. But at least these two have had 4 preseasons, and maybe that's a little bit of cope, but I don't know. Actually, I can't get Kelly to Dawson at the moment, which is what I had, but Jelly's back in, and I think we'll touch on Elliot Yeo and what to do here. So I've gone Elliot Yeo up to Ridley. Jordan Ridley. So out goes Toby McLean for a base rookie, which will be probably Chesser or Ryan, Samson Ryan that is. And then Radigalia I've cut. So when I'm looking to fund on the field, I'm not cutting from the field, I'm cutting from the bench first. I had a bit of money on the bench and I've had to let go of McLean and Radigalia. So I still like Radigalia for the Ruck cover. I still feel comfortable with that. But I think the hope is sometimes you can't always play super safe in this game. Ideally, you play the odds, but I'm hoping that Samson Ryan gets named at some point early. It sounds like he'll definitely play throughout the year. It's just a matter of when. And hopefully he can be our Ruck cover until, I don't know, Max Gorn proves that he's a good option with Grundy in the team. So that's the hope there. So I won't be going Radigalia anymore. I've gone up to the 12th premium with Ridley and foregone Radigalia. And you also got rid of McLean. So I do like McLean, but the role wasn't good. I'm not sure the job security is super strong either. I think the way I put it was McLean is a luxury bench option because based on what we saw in the 2 games that he played, I watched both from start to finish. He did not look, the role looked a bit iffy. It was all over the place. It was a bit of deep forward, bit of wing, bit of half forward, no CBAs. I think he got maybe 1 or 2 CBAs in the intra club when there's 2 midfields. I don't think you can field him. I wouldn't feel safe fielding him until he can prove it. So he would have been on my bench anyway. So those 2 are gone. But yes, we'll start with Elliot Yeo. So he's done a calf and he has to get out your team. So what do you do with Yeo? Well, we've got a few options. I didn't have Ridley. So Ridley in my ranks was 7th or 8th. He made his way up. I think it became apparent that I liked him more than Young and Dacos as the preseason went on. I wasn't going to pick him, but it's pretty much all I could get to. And if I was going to pick a 500k player, I've been saying Ridley and I feel like I've been forced into it. So here we are. So I think you can try and get up to a premium if you can, especially if you're on 11 premiums. I'd go up, get to 12. So I'm seeing a bit of Will Day. Will Day looks like he'll get some decent CBAs, and he does have a high ceiling. He scored big in the past, but I'm not sure. He's versatile. He can play not just inside mid. He might be stuck on a wing at times. Not the strongest contested ball winner. I'm not too sure. So for me, Will Day is a pass. I think he's an okay option. I think he'll make money. I don't think he'll make enough to justify 360k. But yeah, at least he has like strong job security. You could go down to a Hayden Crozier. With Hayden Crozier, the issue, I don't mind Crozier, and I prefer Crozier on field to McKenna. But I think it looks like our defense is going to be quite volatile. I think, Cowan has maybe Chincotta breathing down his neck, and there's a few other defenders like McGovern that aren't in the team that might come in. I'm not too sure, but I think they'll back Cowan in. at least in the short term. I think Wilmot they'll back in, but a wing role, I don't really want that on field. Constable, well, they have Powell and Weller to come back in the first month, so that's a bit worrying. And then Connor McKenna, I think they've backed Connor McKenna in, but hasn't really shown anywhere near his best, but he did improve over the 2 games. So I guess McKenna is my weakest on-field option, so we're going with him. But I think Crozier is better. I think, as I was saying with Crozier, I don't know what they're doing down back because Daniel is supposed to be moving up the ground. It doesn't look like it's working to me. I think he'd have to play half forward or something. They sent him back in the intra-club, not in the intra-club, in the practice game. He played on a half-back flank because I think that's because Jure and Richards both got injured very early. Both should play round 1 though. So I don't know if Dale going back hurts Crozier because that might mean Crozier's kick-ins go down and like could he be sub, start on the bench, kind of be pushed out? Gardner, do they run like a Josh Bruce in there? I'm not too sure. But nonetheless, I think he's done enough to play round 1 and, get a few kick-ins. But there's a few, I feel like he's expendable because he's a little bit risky. It's on top of the already risks that I have, with Constable and these other guys as well. If that makes sense. So I feel like it's additional risk in the back line when, I've already got enough risk, I feel. So, and I guess we were saying this, I think, over the past few weeks with, going light in the defense is quite an issue because, if Constable gets dropped and Yeo goes down, well, we're in trouble. Or we've already lost Yeo. Unfortunately, it's happened, well, for Supercoaches, it's happened right now, a day before we finalised the team, basically. So I think Crozier, I think he's an okay option. Maybe like a D4, D5. I don't know about D3. I think you're pushing your luck there. Hunter Clark had 14 contested. Clark's an interesting one because he's been like a flash in the pan at times. He's done 80 in the past, but he's never really taken that next step consistently. He's shown signs of it. I don't know what his role is. I don't know how much inside mid time he gets. I don't know if they persist with him inside mid. I don't know if they throw him at half back because they got Wanganeen, Miller and Sinclair back there. Can they throw him on a wing, throw him half forward? I honestly don't know. I don't have a good read on the pick. And to be honest, he kind of failed the eye test in the first practice game, but he was a bit better in the second one. So I don't have a good read on the pick. So I wouldn't be going Hunter Clark. I don't love Day. But I don't mind Crozier because you can bank a lot of cash there. And I think Crozier makes more money than those two. But again, they all have their job security is a slight issue for Crozier as well. So that's another thing to consider. So yeah, I think with Yeo, you get him out, but if you can get him up to a premium, in my opinion, if you're already on 12 premiums and you have Yeo, I think you could probably go down then, and that's where you go down to maybe like a Crozier or something, or maybe you restructure and swap a midfielder to like a Dawson done back, and you can run like a Setterfield or a Warp or whoever you like in there that you weren't running before, or maybe like a Tanner Braun. I'd sort of go that route, swap him to another 300k mid-pricer with a bit of DPP. So that is Yeo. It's interesting with Yeo because I didn't like the pick initially, but I picked him because of ownership, just because I'm pessimistic with soft tissue history. But I think it was the right play to pick him, even though it looks like it wouldn't have worked out. But I think the logic was sound enough, because if the PR was he's back to his best, he looked it in the first practice game, he didn't in the second practice game. I think you can forgive one game. But yeah, if he got back to his best and became a keeper and averaged 9,500 plus, and you didn't have him, I think that stings because the rest of the comp has him. But on the flip side, you could have taken that on and you would have got a massive advantage. Imagine Yeo goes down round 1 and you don't have him and the rest of the comp has him. Probably like 50, 60, 70 points for free for you and a trade on the rest of the comp. It's massive. So I didn't have the balls to do it, but I feel like I played it a little bit out of fear by picking him, and I think I'm kind of okay with that. Anyway, next topic before we get to the rookies is Tom Campbell. I'll still be picking Marshall if Campbell is named. The only other option for me is you can go down to Radigalia or you can go up to Jared Witts. That's probably my thinking at the moment, or you can sideways to Darcy if you don't have him. The problem is if they drop Campbell, as some of their tall start to come back, like I think Membry's due round 2 or 3. If Membry comes in and they drop Campbell and you don't have Marshall, it's a little bit of trouble. And I think to take out Marshall is going to throw out people's structure pretty badly. So I'll be keeping him even with Campbell, although it doesn't sit super well with me, but I doubt they duo ruck for the whole year. I think they'll be, it won't necessarily be Marshall getting 30% CBAs like last year when he was second ruck. There was quite a few occasions where he had like sub 40% CBAs. He's had a big preseason. He had an interrupted foot issue last season, I think, and the year before. So I think they want to give him decent ruck time, and it might be, even though Campbell doesn't sound like he's a great forward, but it does sound like, that they want to give ample ruck time to Marshall. So it might not be the 115 plus that I was hoping for if he's rucking with Campbell, but I still think he can do 95 plus with Campbell as long as the CBAs hold up. And it might be a little bit bumpy at first, but at his price, it's just too hard to go past. So I'm hoping that he can score, because he has scored okay, I think high 80s, low 90s, duo rucking before. The floor is quite low. If he's not rucking at all, then the score will plummet on that week. But I just think they'll give him ample ruck time. He's looked fantastic. How can they not give him ample ruck time based on his preseason? So yeah, he's had like a full preseason. He's been flying, and we saw that in the preseason. So in the preseason games. So I'll be sticking with Marshall, even with Campbell named, but I will monitor the situation over the next few weeks, because if the duo ruck really, really works really well, they might stick with it. But I think as their tools come back, I think Campbell will go, because Campbell's 31 and Rowan Marshall is the number one ruckman. But yeah, it wasn't great to hear from a Supercoach perspective that like Campbell's like apparently dropped 5 kilos, and Rossline was like challenged him. He's really impressed with him. So all the best to him in his career. But for our Supercoach team, this is not good, Tom Campbell. But yeah, long story short, get rid of Yeo. Go up to a premium if you're on 11. If not, I think you can trade him to like a 300k player in another line. If you were already on 12, and then with Marshall, I will be holding. I think what's the alternative? You go down to Radigalia and he gives you 50s, or you go up to Wits and throw out your structure. So yeah, it's a difficult situation, but it could be a pod move if Wits goes massive in the first game and then Marshall gets 30% CBAs or something. You might be laughing there, but I think the price and the upside, he will be solo rucking for a fair chunk of this year, and you might have to ride the ups and downs. So yeah, I'll be holding Marshall. Touch on a few rookies. So Cowan, 26 disposals in the NAB League, or not NAB League, whatever the Tassie League is called. I don't know what it is. I think it's not going to be his job to massively rebound, because they have Doherty and Sard back there, so he might have to play a bit more defensive. But I think they like him. I think they want to back him in. Sounds like he's ready to go. Can fit in round 1 in terms of like body, ready to go. And yeah, if he can find the pill at will in juniors, he probably has a decent enough tank to hold up at AFL level. So he's one where I don't mind. I don't think you have to pick. You could throw McKenna on the bench if you don't want Cowan, if you're more confident in McKenna. But I think I kind of want McKenna, Cowan, and Wilmot, because I think all three will make decent money. So I think tick for Cowan if you want to pick him. Again, maybe they drop Chincotta, or maybe they bring in Chincotta or McGovern or whatever. I'm not too sure. But regardless, I think they'll back him in, hopefully. It'd be pretty silly for clubs to just bring in a rookie and then drop him after showing some decent signs in the practice game. But I don't really want him on field just yet. See how he goes. But it seems like with his massive junior numbers, he should have it in him to spike, but yeah, might not get that freedom just yet. Campbell Chesser, wasn't impressed with him at all, to be honest. So I'd like to get him to Ryan, but it's hard to tell when players have missed so much footy. Like I thought he barely touched the ball, and they threw him around the ball when he got a few touches there. And West Coast are no good, but at least they play North round 1. But yeah, I don't want him on the field, but DPP's nice and hopefully doesn't require correction, but was good in the first practice game. I think he kicked 2 goals. So I think he probably averages like 50. It might be a pretty high sub risk just because he's missed so much preseason. But yeah, we'll see how he goes. So I don't mind him, but strictly bench only. And Davey was named, so I'm happy to pick Davey. I do worry how he didn't run out the game super well, and his role isn't perfect. It's a bit better than a traditional small forward. He was pushing up, which was good, up the ground. So a little bit cheaper. I've got 4K in the bank, so I actually need him. But I think there was a documentary called The Kids on Fox Footy. You might have seen it last week, or maybe it was this week. I can't even remember. But they had Davey watching him like dominate the like school league, and then like 7 or 8 o'clock at night, he's just doing extras and stuff like that, like doing sprints while it's dark and no one's out there. So I thought that was pretty cool to see, and that's probably what got him a round 1 debut. So yeah, I think he's an exciting one for Essendon, but you got to, I think, tempering the expectations. I don't want him ever near the field, and hopefully he can pull out like a 70 and make 120, 130k or something like that. And then we had McVee and Lowry. I haven't really looked at, is it Bailey Lowry? I can't remember. But yeah, Jed McVee for Melbourne. So he played a bit of lockdown on Dusty. So I think there's a role there for him. I think he's keeping Hibbert out of the team, but what happens when Salem comes in, I honestly don't know. So I won't be picking McVee, but if he requires a correction to bring him in, I think he's a good player, but yeah, I'm not sure his job is going to be to score points. Wasn't a high scorer in juniors either, so I think I'll pass on McVee. But yeah, I'll monitor him if I need to bring him in. And then Lowry, I think, played more forward last year and only scored like 10 Dream Team. He scored, I can't remember Supercoach, but he scored 10 Dream Team in the practice game. So I honestly don't know on Lowry's job security. I think he's 3rd year in the system, so he should be okay, should be ready to go, mature body, but I think one to monitor. Maybe you bring him in. I'm not sure I want to start him because I think the data on him is quite low. But yeah, if anyone can help me out on Lowry, that'd be great. I've barely looked into it, but I'll do a little bit of that tonight. So hopefully bring you guys something in the rookie video. But anyway, that's it from me. That's how the team is shaping up. Yeah, on the jelly train. A little bit nervous, but I think ideally I'd rather Phillips on field than McKenna, but I think Jelly, I'm a bit fearful of what Jelly can do with 70% CBAs. I don't think we've ever seen that before. So we'll see how we go, but yeah, I've been down the jelly road before and always ends up in a car crash. So cheers to another year of that. But anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.